You're listening to the Healing Blueprint podcast, where we bridge traditional and holistic healing modalities. We bring you weekly conversations with industry experts, sharing insights, tools, and guidance to help you build your own healing blueprint. I'm your host, Jill Briansky. Now let's meet our guest and get healing. Welcome back to the Healing Blueprint. Today, I'd like to talk about something that took me a long time to understand. Healing isn't about getting somewhere. It's not about the destination. For years, I treated it like it was. I was always reaching for the next shift, the next breakthrough, the better version of myself. I truly believed that if I found the right modality, if I had the right realization, everything would change and I would finally feel settled. I had this burning desire to arrive. What I didn't understand then is that healing isn't about arriving at all. It's not about the destination. It's about staying in presence. Somewhere along the way, I stopped scanning myself for what was wrong. I stopped trying to fix every uncomfortable feeling the moment it showed up. And instead, I started to embrace the process. The actual moment I was in, not some imagined destination or future version of me, but my reality in that moment. That meant allowing feelings to surface instead of managing them away, letting discomfort sit in the room without rushing to make a change. Sitting with grief without immediately turning it into growth. And staying with fear long enough to understand what that fear was protecting. I used to bypass without even realizing I was doing it. I'd reframe too quickly, jump to insight before I actually felt what needed to be felt. Now I try to stay. Being present is often quiet and can be very uncomfortable. Sometimes it's noticing your chest tighten and not immediately try to relax it. It's admitting you're hurt instead of pretending you're above it. It's turning towards those parts of yourself you may not like. The parts that are reactive, insecure, and often messy. And recognizing that those parts are also very strong, and they are an integral part of who you are. It's embracing those parts for their journey instead of pushing them away. That's the work. We don't grow when we're comfortable. But growth isn't about forcing discomfort either. It's allowing life to show up in the ebbs and flows and riding those waves, not trying to change them. I had a teacher who used to say, get comfortable in the uncomfortable. It seemed kind of a crazy notion to me at the time, for that would mean I would have to sit in the uncomfortable. But I get that differently now. It's not about pushing through it all. That's not the work. And that's not the growth. And it's not about abandoning yourself when things feel messy. It's about embracing yourself when things feel good and when things don't feel so good. Last year, I wrote a chapter in the book, The Call Within, Finding Purpose and Sparking Transformation. It was called Releasing Cinderella, and I felt exposed. I questioned whether I should tone it down, edit myself, make my journey smaller to protect myself and my feelings. Instead, I stayed with the discomfort, with the vulnerability, and eventually it shifted. Not because I forced it to, but because I allowed it to. I gave it the room that it needed to move through me at its own pace. Visibility has been like that for me too. I'm the kid who used to hide behind her mom when adults tried to talk to her. So using my voice publicly didn't come naturally. It doesn't come naturally. Even this podcast is a step into the uncomfortable. It's finding my voice and sharing my story. When I was taught from a young age that it wasn't about my story or my voice. It was about making other people comfortable. I'm still working through the quiet moments. I still need space. But I don't feel defined by the same labels anymore. I don't feel defined by the word shy or introvert. I don't feel burdened by other people's energy the way I once did, because I've learned how to notice it without absorbing it, without owning it. Healing for me has meant learning how to stay in my own energy and not having to control, manage, or take on anyone else's. It's been setting boundaries without guilt, recognizing that I can support someone deeply and still let their work be theirs. I can guide and hold space, but I can't walk the path for you. That's empowering for both of us. It's freeing for me because I don't have to fix or carry what isn't mine. And it's empowering for the other person because their healing belongs to them. They get to move through it at their pace, and they get to own it. Healing isn't something someone else does to you or for you. It's something you participate in. It's allowing your own healing blueprint to work with you instead of fighting it. Listening to what's coming up, trusting your intuition, letting your process unfold without trying to control every step. What's changed the most for me over time isn't how much I know. It's how much I allow. It's allowing the feelings, the pauses, the quiet and the loud, and allowing the process to unfold instead of directing it. Supporting yourself isn't criticizing yourself for having a hard day. It's supporting yourself through that hard day and knowing that you had the strength to walk through it. Sometimes supporting yourself is calling someone and asking for help instead of isolating. And sometimes, at least for me, it's laughing at how human we all really are. Laughter is an important tool that we have, which often gets overlooked. It has the power to shift things quickly and soften intensity. It reminds our nervous system that it's safe enough. Now, laughter doesn't erase what you're working through or with, but it gives you room inside of it. It gives you space to breathe and perhaps return to these things with a different lens. And that matters. Because the world doesn't need polished versions of us. It doesn't need people who have it all figured out. The world needs people who are willing to be present, open, and honest, who are willing to stay in their process instead of performing a finished product. Our energy shapes the world we live in. The way we move through our own discomfort influences how we show up in relationships, in conversations, and in community. When we stop abandoning ourselves, we feel safer in our bodies. We're not as reactive. We're not bracing or scanning for how we should respond. And from that place, we start to trust our inner knowing, our intuition, instead of defaulting to conditioned responses, instead of automatically people-pleasing or adjusting ourselves to manage the room. We can respond from what's actually true for us. When we allow our intuition to guide us, our energy feels steadier. And from that steadiness, we can actually be present with ourselves and with others. And that's where real connection happens. When we give ourselves permission to show up, we give others the same permission. As we continue building the healing blueprint, this is what we're really practicing. We're practicing presence. We're practicing moving through resistance instead of jumping over it, letting growth happen because we stayed long enough for it to happen. And I hope that hearing about my journey and the journey of the guests that we will have on the show will inspire you and encourage you to tap into your own spark and allow the world to witness you and benefit from your wisdom. I appreciate you all so much for being here with me. That's a wrap for this episode of The Healing Blueprint. Honor what landed, release what didn't, and keep creating your own healing blueprint. Until next time, be well.